Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 6, Monday morning, and it's 32 degrees outside. I had a decent weekend, although I didn't get all the things done that I wanted to. Got some of the things done for our trip to Europe. Got some of the stuff done for home. Got some of the work done for the office. And today is Monday. I'm supposed to be at the office today. I have 3 meetings this morning, and I am going to the casino instead. I think so. I think tomorrow I'll spend some time in the office and fine-tune some things. I'll set up some meetings tonight for tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll just do like a morning and an evening trip to a casino that's nearby, but other than that, I will be doing my normal stuff. I think this week, last week was good. Made between 6,500 and 7,000 on a breakneck pace. If we can keep it up, it's hard to keep something like that up though. The way that I'm doing things. The goal is to just continue doing what I'm doing. I didn't know if this year was going to be a lot different than last year, and so far it's not going to be, although I am waiting for some things to come through to expand my portfolio of games and things, so to speak. So, this morning, like I said, it's kind of cold outside, but I'm on my way. By the time I get to my first casino, I'm only going to have about 20 minutes in there before my first meeting. So I'll take a quick lap, and if I see anything that's going to take a long time, then I'll wait and go back in after the meeting. This is one of my short 15-minute meetings, so it would not be a big deal. So I guess one way to strategize would be, if it's an expensive bet or something that people normally wouldn't play, like certain games they don't check, it's okay to leave that for 15 minutes, but if it's one of the obvious ones, then I have to go ahead and play it. So, all right, I'm going to let you go for now, and I'll be back after my first stop. All right, guys, I am back. All right, a little frustration here early in the morning. I go into this first place, and I could tell already that all my friends have already been here and cleaned it out. In fact, someone worked very hard last night and did some extra special stuff in here last night, and congratulations to that. But for me, that wasn't very good. So I go around the whole place, can't really find anything. I'm immediately down like whatever it was, $60 or $80, something like that. Then I come back around and I find one play. I play that, I'm ahead like $61. And then I'm checking a machine, and I had 2 vouchers. I put the 2 vouchers in the machine, and instead of pushing cash out, I pushed max bet, which cost me $20. So that was frustrating. Then I went to another machine, found a couple borderline plays, played the first one through, and lost about $45. So it put me slightly negative. I went to the other borderline play and started playing it and got back to plus 41, like within a spin or two. And I said, well, I think I should just leave well enough alone. And that play was too big of a play for me to be messing around with. So I got lucky that at least I got back to where I was. But that losing that $20 on that spin always hurts. I remember a few times where I accidentally spun $25 or $50, and I was 8 or 10 spins into the play when I realized I was at the wrong betting level. So those are never fun. Anyway, I guess that's what happens when you hurry instead of taking your time to do things right. All right, so right now I have 2 meetings left this morning. I also have another one that was just set up for this afternoon. We're going to see what we can do here. So right now I have about an hour and a half drive to my next spot, and I have a meeting starting in 45 minutes. Hopefully get that all wrapped up by the time I get into this place, and then figure out what we're going to do from there. But we're going to have a good day here. Just frustration will be gone in a few minutes, and we'll be back on track. So letting you go for now, plus $41, and we're moving on. All right, guys, I am back. All right, moved on to the next place. Walked in there and started looking around, and immediately saw some Asians checking machines, and I knew it was going to be a tough day. Looked around, found a couple small plays, nothing major, and played those through. I saw a friend of mine in there as well. But I made about $50 on each of a couple plays, and ended the session ahead $114. Well, plus 114. The thing that my friend was chasing was pretty big, pretty wild, and I think he didn't do very well at it. I think he ended up maybe making $100 on it. Definitely ran a lot of money through the machines, but didn't look like he was going to make a lot on it. There was still one more jackpot that he was chasing, and it's a tough one. So I told him my experience with it and how tough it was, and what kind of return to player I was getting on there. But I think he wants to continue on with it, so that's good. That's fine for him. And right now, my low fuel light just came on, so we're gonna look for somewhere to get some gas. The next casino is just a hop, skip, and a jump away, so about half an hour or so from our current position. So we'll get some fuel, and we'll go into the next casino. And I have a meeting at 1:30, I believe, so the goal is going to be to try to get a blackjack session in before the meeting. In fact, if I can make it to the next casino without getting gas, I'll probably do that just to get that extra few minutes and be able to make sure that I have a complete blackjack session. I don't get stuck before I leave. So generally for me, an hour and 15 minutes is about where I want to be as far as a blackjack session, but you never know. So all right, letting you go for now, and I'll be back to update you shortly. All right, guys, I am back. I am actually coming back into the casino. I played for about, let's see, 3 hours already, and just sat down at a $50 six deck and just been grinding away, and grinded myself pretty much into the ground, going from 50 to 500. Just haven't had anything good to even be able to raise my bets or anything like that. So at my low point, I was in for 5,500. Thanks, you too. I was down as much as 5,100, and ended up having to leave the table temporarily for a quick meeting. And right now I'm walking back in. Right now at this point I'm down 3,200. I'm gonna go back and sit at the table. I've got another meeting in about 38 minutes. So I'm just gonna play a little bit longer, see how much I can get done. Grind away at it a little bit, maybe get 1,000 or 800 of it back. Go back to the car, do the meeting, and then come back in and try to grind away some more. So that's what's going on right now. I haven't had a chance to play any machines or anything. I did take a quick lap when I first walked in because there was no tables available. But right now I'm going back, sit at the table, gonna play another half hour or so, and then I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. So I played another 30 minutes and didn't have a lot of swings this time. Stayed pretty steady just for that little tiny session there. The most I was up was like 200. The most I was down was about 15 or 1,400, and I ended up that portion even, so still at 2,300 right now. Need to get to 5,500, so minus 33, 32. So right now heading back to the car and get this call and then hopefully come back in. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we're grinding away, doing everything that we possibly can. I'll be back with you after the meeting. Alright guys, I am walking back in. Actually, I was wrong. It was only 2 hours the first time and half an hour the second time, so not as bad, but we're walking back in. We'll see what we can do here. We got 2,300 and we'll see. Even if just double up, I'd be pretty happy with that. And right now, no heat or anything, so not too worried. So walking through the casino back to the high limit area, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. It is much later here. I played blackjack for a total of 4 hours and 45 minutes, spreading from $50 to $500. I don't think I went above that. The low for the session was minus 5,200. The high for the session was plus 200, and I ended up leaving plus 200. A couple things happened while I was there. For one thing, the table dynamics changed dramatically. A couple other people came to the table. They knew me, I knew them. Of course, they don't know what I do, but they're like, oh yeah, this guy's a good player, we could sit with him. So they sat down, started playing, and then there was a guy at first base. He started playing, and eventually he was down a couple $1,000s, I think, and then security came over and talked to him, and they took him away from the table, talked to him for a few minutes, and they came back, and he said, well, I guess I'm leaving. And he had $400 left. He colored it up and he took off. And we were all trying to guess the reason why, because I didn't see him as a card counter. Maybe I was too busy paying attention to my own stuff. But if he was, he had a good table image, I would say, because I guess maybe counts were low. I didn't really see the bets really jumping up too much, or I wasn't paying attention. I was worried about myself. But as far as I knew, he was down a few thousand when he left. But then when he left, the other guys at the table, 2 other guys were at the table, they decided that we were doing so well with him there that we're going to keep his hand going. So they pooled their money together, and one of them played that extra hand for the rest of the time they were there. There was one point where the count went really negative, and we were all betting really high, and it went from a good count to a negative count very quickly. So I ended up making an excuse. I said I have to blow my nose. I don't want to drip all over the table. Don't worry, I'm not sick or anything, but I don't want to be gross. So I'll be right back. You guys can keep playing the shoe though. And I came back, and the dealer's like, well, you can't get in until the shoe's over. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't realize. And all that was good, so no issues there. And then another guy who was playing, it was just me and him at the table earlier. He was on third base, and I was at first base at that time. He ended up wanting to play, but the table was full, so he gave the other guy, I was on third base at this point, he was giving the guy next to me like $300 or $400 or $500 a hand to bet for him. And nobody said a word. I've seen it so many times where they make a big deal. Oh, you can't bet it for that person and all these different things. Unless, you're playing baccarat or something, then they don't care. But anyway, he ended up making his money back and leaving. So everybody had made their money back except me. And I struggled and worked my way up and slowly but surely chipped away at it. And like I said, I eventually got to the point where I was plus 200, and I left the table. I go cash out 2,700 at the cashier. Then I go to the poker room and I cash out 1,000. And then I came back to the cashier, cashed out the rest. And then I decided to play some slots. Played for 5 or 7 minutes, something like that, and ended up ahead $32. So somehow, with God's help, I ended up leaving the casino ahead, But it was rough going for a really long time, and I didn't know if I was going to get it back or not. I never really took a huge dive other than about an hour into it. I was down about 12 or 1400, and I took about a $3,000 dive, and then after that it was like just even keel from there. So, and I slowly built it up. It worked out. So right now, when I was finishing up on my slot machine, I got a call from a friend of mine who I love to meet in the city. He doesn't live here, but he travels here sometimes. And he said, hey, he asked me if a guy got removed from my table and stuff. And it turns out that guy may listen to my podcast, and he's out having a beer with him right now. So instead of going on to the next casino, it's 6 p.m. already. I'm going to go ahead and meet them and say hello and, get to know them, get to know him, hopefully. And we'll see where that goes. But it was a really crazy session, and this is my favorite dealer. Always has a good attitude, always upbeat, and she is fast. I actually timed 2 of the shoes. She was cutting it at about half to 3/4 deck penetration. So I was playing 5 1/4 decks out of 6, and one time she did it in 6 minutes, one time in 8 minutes, and that is lightning fast. And that includes getting the cards out of the card shuffler and cutting them and putting them in and dealing out. So that was lightning fast, and can't complain. So, but of course, when other people get to the table, it slows down your game. But I really couldn't do anything else because all the tables were full. If I get up off that table, I'm not going to sit down again. So if I was ahead, it would have been different, but with me being behind, I kind of adjusted to it and kept on playing. So right now, supposedly, I am at this place. I'm pulling into this parking lot, and I'll see if I can find my friend here and his buddy, and I'll be back and let you know how things go from there. All right, guys, I am back. It's about 45 minutes later, maybe 40 minutes later. I met these guys at a restaurant, and my friend was there, and the other person that was at the casino with me and his wife were there, and actually we know each other already. We never met in person before, but we've talked online, we've communicated with each other, we have each other's phone numbers, so that was pretty cool. We got to chat a little bit and get to know each other a little bit better, and that's awesome. So hopefully in the future we can work together and make money, take money away from the casinos. So that was really awesome. Glad to meet them. Glad to meet you guys if you're listening. They do listen to the show, which is awesome. And thank you for paying for my burger. I appreciate that. And right now I am on my way. What is this crazy exit that they're going to have me do here? All right. I'm on my way. I'm going to skip a casino because now it would be backtracking, but I'm going to go to another casino. And unfortunately, today was not the best day money-wise, but it was a heck of a day as far as recovery and not losing money. So I'm very glad for that and very happy things worked out there. When I met this guy today at the restaurant, we both gave each other our impressions of the other one as far as, do we look like we do this or, things like that, and got some feedback from each other. It's all good. So, yeah, that was real cool. And I just went on the wrong exit here. So, when you have a crowded city and you have all these exits that are so close to each other, I really thought by looking at the map that this was the right exit, but no big deal. Adds about 2 minutes to my trip. And so right now we're going to head off. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to, I'm going to skip one place and move on to the place I was going to go to after that. And we'll see what we can get done here. Maybe we can still salvage today. Maybe we can get a couple good sessions of slots in today. And make some decent money. Let's see what else happened today. I saw a couple interesting people today. It's probably bad for me to even say it these days, the way that the world is these days, but just some unique people that I met today. I guess I'm not going to talk about it. All right, guys, I am back. I went to the next place and I hit a new milestone. I walk in, look around, really don't see much. I see one machine. I played that and won like $127, so I was pretty happy. I go use the restroom, come back out, and there's a machine right there that everybody's been playing. All the Asians have been playing, and I have stayed away from it for the most part. I know the entry points, but I just haven't done well on it. And it was right there, so I decided to go ahead and give it a try. After the rocky day that I've had, I thought, hey, maybe this is the boost that I need. Well, I was wrong. $7.50 per spin. It took me, I was down $993 before it finally hit. And I walked away from that machine minus really 580 or so. But for the session, I was down like 4 something. Walk around, find a couple other things to play, and chip away at it. And really, I know it's time to leave this place because at this point, why am I playing ridiculously small plays, borderline plays, things like that, just to prevent myself from having a negative session? What's the point of that? So I ended up leaving, and the milestone is my first loss of the year. So it's not bad, I guess. Made it to January 8th before having a session loss, minus $287. So it wasn't the best day today. I'm probably, a couple hundred ahead right now for the day. But you have to have those days. And like I said, I feel fortunate not to be buried today. So right now I am heading out, moving on to the next casino. And I don't expect much from there because it's always going to be crowded and always going to be people playing there that know what they're doing. So we're just going to go through the motions and do our best and see what happens. And hopefully I can pick up a couple $100 and help balance out the day a little bit more. So, yeah, right now I haven't really talked about weather. It's been pretty nice. Right now it's 37 degrees, dry roads, decent outside. It's obviously dark. It's about 9 p.m. right now, and just going to move on to the next spot, and then I'll come back and let you know how it goes. All right, guys, I am back. I expected this place to be very busy, but in fact, it was the opposite. I forgot that tonight was the national championship for NCAA football. So there were some people in there betting on the game, and a few people playing machines, but not too many. So I found it difficult to find a lot of good plays. I did find a few plays, and at one point I was ahead as much as 222. But then I took one more lap around, found another play I couldn't live without, ended up playing that one and lost a little bit of money on that one, then played a few more, and finally ended up leaving ahead 107. So plus 107 there, and just people watching, a lot of people watching in there and seeing what they were playing, and a lot of people just pumping so much money into machines that have no chance of survival, no chance of making any money at all. A lot of the people I expected to see here were not here. There were none of the Asian people that are normally here, and maybe one or two advantage players here, but very little going on overall. So, all right, at this point now, it's getting really late, and I've got to make some decisions for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm supposed to have a meeting with my manager, but when I look at my calendar, the meeting is not there. But I set up a meeting myself with somebody, so I've got to be there for that. let's see, tomorrow, just that meeting. So I could actually probably do that in the car. The manager doesn't seem to be in the office tomorrow for some reason. And then there are a few items that I was supposed to get to today that I was too busy playing to get to. So I'm going to try to get to those tonight. It will be way after midnight before I get home, and I'll need to get up by 6 o'clock at the latest tomorrow to get out. So do I still go play somewhere, and if so, where? Because usually Tuesdays are the days that I don't go anywhere. Or do I stay in town, try to catch up on personal life, catch up on office work and everything else? Do I push that all to tonight and work my butt off tonight like I did yesterday in the evening to get all that stuff done? So these are the decisions I need to make. So I'm going to think about it here, and then I want to come back and go over a few other things that happened today. All right, guys, I am back. Let's talk a little bit about security and what happened today, and how to prevent things from happening like that. So obviously, really surveillance, not security, but surveillance. Their job is to keep an eye on the place, keep an eye on the money, and if they see things that are suspicious, to investigate them. If they see people betting in a manner that may be advantageous to the player, that may be smart, that may give the player an advantage in any way, then they're going to investigate it. So what are their tools for investigation? The first tool is obviously just to watch. If a person is cheating, they'll be able to catch it on camera, play it back later, or possibly even right then if it's still going on. Lots of times surveillance catches things that happen after it's over. Something suspicious happened, it's investigated, and then if that player ever comes back in, then they do something about it. So as far as capping your bet, which is when you're adding chips after the bet has already won, they'll be able to catch that. They can do that. There's a lot of amazing ways that people cap bets in roulette, and they're very hard to detect, but it's very possible. So and you can get away with it, but is it worth getting away with it once so that you can go to jail later? As far as card counting, a couple different ways. So one way that they're alerted is when a person buys in for a lot of money. When I bought in for a lot of money today, once I reached probably 5,000 in the location I was in, they're going to probably say, hey, do we know who this guy is? Do we know what his habits are? Is he an advantage player? If they don't know, they may want to take a look at that player. If they already are familiar with that player, then they may let it go. And if it's been long enough since they looked at that player's habits, even if they know who that player is, they may want to look at it again. So how do you look at it? For one thing, you can keep track of the count. You can do it from the beginning of the shoe, or you can pick it up anywhere in the middle of the shoe. So if a person is betting 2 units already, and a bunch of face cards come out, they go to 1 unit. Then a bunch of small cards come out and they go up. That may give you an idea. You could look at it from the beginning of the shoe. That may require you waiting till the next shoe, or looking at video after the person is gone. Generally, from what I understand, surveillance likes to look at 2 positive shoes and 2 negative shoes. So, like the normal way that I play, if I'm only playing 4 or 5 shoes anyway, there might only be 1 positive shoe. There might be no negative shoes. I'm giving them less stuff to look at, but a day like today, they may have more things that they can look at. So if they decide that you are an advantage player, what do they do about it? So some of them flyer, which means send an alert to other casinos in the area. Some of them may put you in a system. So it may be in their own database. It may be in a nationwide database, Biometrica. It may be that they don't do any of that stuff, but they back you off or they trespass you immediately. Some of them are going to give you an easy back off. Please don't play blackjack anymore. Some are going to say, please don't play in the casino anymore. And some are going to say, if you come back, we're going to arrest you. So those are the different things. And in my area where I live, most of the casinos in this area have very good facial recognition software, and they can get players very early. And I know a lot of players, including some who actually lost a lot of money, so they excluded themselves from being able to play because they didn't want to lose anymore, and they were caught with facial recognition. I know one that was actually charged after coming back, even though he's the one who backed off himself, so to speak. He said, I don't want to lose any more money, don't let me come back in here, and they actually pressed charges. Most of the time what's going to happen is they're going to just say, hey, you better leave. They might call the police, they may walk you out, they may or may not trespass you or press charges. Most of the time, actually, I don't know of any times that those charges have stuck, but usually that's because the person who got kicked out of the casino will plead deal to something lesser, but I think a lot more people need to actually contest that in court, and there are people out there right now who are actively looking for people's stories so that they can put together cases to help combat this. Now, if that happens and they are able to overcome casino backoffs, what's going to happen is something like what happened in New Jersey, where the games become worse and worse, or they get rid of table games. So that may not be what we want either. So we want to have it both ways. We want to have the best games, and we don't want them to be able to back us off, but that's not going to be entirely possible most of the time. So yeah, I mean, that's the basics of it. I'm going to do a beginner's guide to surveillance and security and the differences soon, so stay tuned for that. Right now, I'm going to continue my trip home. If you have any questions or comments, it's mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.